Hello and welcome to another educational video about screen printing by Catspit Productions. Today's video is a quick tips video, and I'm really busy in the shop lately. I haven't even had time to go get a haircut from my favorite haircutting girl, Leslie. It's a shout out to Leslie. You know who you are. All right, and hopefully I'll see you this week, get a haircut. The shop is a mess, you know, it's a disaster, it's a total mess, but I wanted to do a little quick tips video on long sleeve printing because I just had a job where I had to do some long sleeves, and so since it's set up and you can see the screen and you can see the print results, I thought I would share that with you, okay, because you know, printing long sleeves is a little bit more complicated and in-depth than printing short sleeves. Short sleeves are a little bit easier to do because they're generally easier to load. Okay, so this is something that you have to keep in mind when you're printing a long sleeve, okay, and you're going to have a print down the sleeve, all right? It's going to take a lot more loading. It's going to take a lot more effort to load this shirt and get it in the proper spot, okay, on the sleeve palette. Okay, the other thing is that with long sleeves, you have to keep in mind that the size of your palette can affect, like for instance, my palette's too big. I can't actually do small long sleeve shirts. Small long sleeve shirts just won't fit on this palette. I have to get a special palette made for small t-shirts, for small long sleeve shirts, which is, you know, an additional setup. Now, the other thing that you have to consider is your screen setup, especially if you're printing text. If you're printing a design, then, you know, if the design is symmetrical on both sides, you can use the same stencil to print both sleeves. But when you're doing text, you want the text to read right. When the person arms, you know, when your arms are out straight or your arms are crossed on a table, you want that text that's on the sleeve print to read right, so that somebody looking at you could read it from, what is it, left to right. Okay, so let me show you, I'll show you a quick look at the screen, how I set it up. And I actually did put two, because I had to make an extra screen, I put two of the same text that I was going to print, just flipped in the opposite direction so that I could move, when I did the right sleeve, I could move over to the left sleeve and have a clean stencil to look at and line up on the palette. You can see the left sleeve, the Gary's starts at the bottom, and on the right sleeve, the Gary's starts at the top. Okay, so that's what you have to remember. Let's take a quick look at the screen. All right, so you can see really quickly here, hopefully, it's you know, I did this job, so it's a little messy, but you can see I set one up for the, you know, right sleeve. I think that's the right sleeve. And then this is the left sleeve. Okay, so you see what I did there was I set it up so that I could basically do the right sleeve, print them all, and then this stencil was clean, and all I did was move the screen over and line it up to a test print that I had on the palette underneath, and then I lined this one up in the approximate same position. And because the film positives were made where they start, you know what I'm saying, they're in the same position, it was very easy to do. So that's how I did this, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You could use this one and then just, you know, just one and pull the screen out and flip it around. You know what I'm saying? Just flip it around. But I decided to do it like this so that I would have a clean stencil. I had to make this screen anyway, so I figured why not put the two stencils on it, and that way I could move from one to the other fairly quickly without having to clean the screen to line it up. Okay, so you could see how with text, the way we did it, it's very important to think ahead of time about what you're doing and how you're going to do it. And pay attention on press that you're printing the appropriate text on the appropriate sleeve so that when the arms are crossed or straight out on a table, it reads right, okay? So that's, and this is something that you have to consider with pricing. The loading of the long sleeve shirt onto the pallet and unloading and getting it onto the dryer without messing it up is going to take you a lot longer than, a short sleeve print. So in reality, this shirt here, which we have a crest, we have a back, and we have two sleeve prints, a sleeve print on each side, this is like a $15 shirt. Okay, so that's something that you got to take into consideration. Let's take a look at the shirt. I'll cross the arms and take a look at the shirt, and so you can see how the text reads right when the arms are crossed like this. Okay, so hopefully we don't have an exposure issue here with the white ink and the navy blue t-shirt, but as you can see, this is the front of the t-shirt with a little crest print, and then you can see when the arms are crossed, they read right. So both sides will read right when either your arms are crossed, stretched out on a table in front of you, or if you were a zombie and you had your arms out forward and walking, right? It would read right on both sleeves. So that's the thing you have to pay attention to when you're doing text like this, is that on the right sleeve, it's going to start from the front, left to right, and on the left sleeve, it's still left to right, but now, the G is down here towards the end of the sleeve rather than up at the shoulder. Okay, so that's your challenge in your artwork and the challenge in making sure that you print the appropriate stencil on the appropriate sleeve. All right, so you could see how important it is to really plan out your job and think ahead of time when you're doing text. If you make the text vertical, one letter on top of the other down the arm, then obviously you could use the same one for each side. It wouldn't really matter. But it can be difficult to load. So let me just show you a quick loading shot, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so just to quickly show you, the complications you can have in loading is that you have to be able to get the shirt in the same position, the sleeve in the same position every time. And what's going to hinder you is the end of the palette, how long your palette is, how far you can get the shoulder up on top, and what are you going to use as your guide. Is it the shoulder seam up at the edge of the palette where you're going to guide, or are you going to guide yourself down here? With a long sleeve, the palette can actually make or break you and give you a lot of problems. My palette is a little bit too big, so I need to actually get a custom-made palette and have it a little bit smaller and a little bit more tapered down towards the cuff area, and that would allow more flexibility in loading. But as you can see, the two different sleeves load differently and will print differently in order to read right when the arms are crossed, or like I showed you. Okay, so you see how each sleeve is different. One reads this way, the other one reads that way. But when it all works out on the body and the arms are crossed in front or stretched out on a table, or if you're a zombie, like I said, with your arms out in front of you, then it reads right. All right, so as you can see, it can be a little bit difficult to load. Different size shirts will be difficult to get on the palette so that the print is in the approximate same position on the sleeve from size to size. So, these are all things that you got to consider. Quite frankly, if you can avoid sleeve prints, it's probably better off in the beginning, because, the customer most likely won't want to pay the added cost that you really need in order to justify the sleeve printing and make it profitable for you. Otherwise, it can be inconsistent. It can be a challenge, when you're first starting out screen printing. sleeve printing on the long sleeves can definitely be a challenge, and your palette is going to make or break you, you know, especially. And make sure to remember that you have to have the appropriate size stencil and artwork along with the palette to match the sizes of the shirts that you're going to print on. Okay, for instance, for my job here at Gary's Automotive, we can't do small shirts just because I don't have the appropriate palette in-house right now that would fit it, and I might even have to resize the art for small. Well, maybe not. The sleeve is probably long enough it could take the same stencil, but I would need a different palette. So these are some of the things that you have to consider with long sleeve printing. It's a little challenging, but you know, depending on who you're dealing with and what customer you have, you know, if you can command the price for it, then it's a pretty simple way of sprucing up a shirt, because these are very popular. A shirt like this guy here, Gary's Automotive, will be giving these shirts away like candy. People love sleeve prints. They're hot, you know. So, all right. So that's it. I just wanted to show you that really quick. I'm sorry for the mess in the shop. Sorry about my uncouth hair. I got to go see Leslie this week and get a haircut and stuff. So I just wanted to point out a few things there with the long sleeve printing, and you know, while I had it set up. So thanks a lot for watching. If you like what you see, if you like my tips, please rate thumbs up, comment below, subscribe, and of course, visit the Catspit Productions website and visit the Print Supplies page and take advantage of the promo codes that I have there for the vendors and get discounts on your screen printing supplies that you need. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps support the continued production of free educational videos like this one on YouTube, just for you. All right? Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.